welcome back. If you're wondering how do you solve a system using a matrix equation, well, you came to the right place, using a matrix equation. Because what I'm going to talk about right now is how to solve a system using a matrix equation right now. So you're probably going to need your calculators because or else it's going to be a really tedious task. And I'm going to do this with three variables. So I'm looking at this right here where I have a system of 6x plus y, and we have plus 2z equals 11. And then I have x minus y plus z equals 5. And then we have negative x plus 4y minus z equals 14. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to solve the system using a matrix equation. Now, in order to set this matrix equation, we need to have a coefficients matrix and then a variable matrix. We're going to multiply these together. So what we have right here is I'm going to create a coefficients matrix. All right, in this coefficients matrix, we're going to have 6, 1, and 2. 1, negative 1, and 1 for z. Negative 1, 4, and negative 1. So the bottom, just so you know, this stands for our x, this is our y, and these are our z's. Now, with that, we're going to multiply this by a variable matrix. All right, variable matrix. Our variable matrix has to be, since it's a 3 by 2, this has to be a 3 by 1. And we're going to make this x, y, and z. Now this works out because if you do matrix multiplication, you know you're supposed to take rows times columns. All right, rows times columns. I'm going to get my highlighter out here. All right, highlighter. So rows times columns. And what you notice is 6 times x gives you that, plus 1 times y, which gives you that, and then 2 times z gives you this. And so what we just created was that thing by going rows times columns. All right. Now what should that equal? Well, this should equal, all right, since we're taking a 3 by 3 times a 3 by 1, what we should get is a 3 by 1. 3 by 1. And so we have then this 3 by 1 is going to actually equal our solutions. So this is going to be our solution matrix. And I'll put that here. And what we have is 11, 5, and 14. Now, what I kind of do when I have this is I'm going to call this C times X equals S. Now, when you solve a matrix equation like this, where this is C for coefficients, this is my X for variables, and this is my S for solutions, we want to solve for X. Now, to solve for X, normally we would divide by C. Well, we can't divide by matrices, but what we can do is multiply by the inverse to get an identity matrix. And so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply, and order does matter here, and we're going to multiply this matrix C by its inverse, well, to create an identity matrix, which essentially is 1. So now, but whatever I do to one side, remember, I also have to do to the other. So I'm going to take this, and we're going to have the inverse of C times, all right, make sure you put that on the right side, sorry, left side, and you have that. So we have to take the inverse of C times S, and that will give us our, all right, matrix X, what X will equal. All right, so essentially, what we're going to get is we have this 3 by 3, all right, inverse matrix, times a, all right, 3 by 1, and then we have this 3 by 1 here, and if you notice, we will get a 3 by 1 matrix is over, and now is our solution. So how do you do this? Well, let's do this. We're going to find the inverse of C. So if you take out your calculators, all right, we're going to input into our calculators, go to second matrix, we're going to put in, we're going to edit, and I'm going to put in here, or we're going to put a 3 by 3, and we're going to enter in this coefficient matrix. We're going to have 6, we're going to have 1, we're going to have 2, we're going to have 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, 4, and negative 1. All right. Now we're then going to go back to second quick, because we have to keep on doing that whenever we go back. We're now going to find our, all right, we're going to multiply it by our S matrix. Remember the S matrix is right here. So we're going to go to our S matrix. Okay, and I'm going to just go to edit. All right, we're going to make that B. And this one's going to be a 3 by 1, by 3 by 1. So we're going to enter that in. We have 11, 5, and 14. So remember that 11, 5, and 14. Now, here's the test of resistance, le fin. We're going to do this now is that we're going to take our inverse of our one matrix. So we're going to go second matrix. We're going to find the inverse. Now, if you do this on your calculator, it's really, really cool. And I would normally not do this for a 2 by 2, but 3 by 3, I'm going to do it. So we're going to take our A. That's our coefficient matrix. We're going to find its inverse. The inverse button is that. I'm going to multiply it by, all right, we're going to take this matrix, and we're going to take matrix, our solution matrix, which we have as B, and we're going to get our answer of right here, okay, which we can then take, and we want to, I'm going to just make sure this is right. Seems a little off, unless I can put it wrong. All right, let's see if this is a different answer. No, same thing. All right, if you go to math, fraction, you can actually make these into fractions, and that would be our answer. This is our answer where x, y, and z, I inputted everything right, and I wrote everything down correctly. That would be our solution. All right, and that's what we got. So what we have then is our solutions matrix is going to equal, all right, negative 9 over 2, 19 thirds, and then 95 over 6. Not perfect, not great, but that's what we got. All right, so I hope that helps you out on how you can set up the matrix equation. It also tells you how you can actually find the inverse by using this little button right here. So if you actually wanted to find out what is the inverse of that matrix A that we just found, so you know what we're multiplying, all you have to do is do this, and there we have it. Go to math, fraction. You can find out all the other values and what that would be. Now I'll just erase this so you can see. Yeah, not very nice, and that's why we use our calculator for problems like this. All right, so that is a matrix equation. That's how you can solve it. I hope this helps you out. Good luck and God bless in the rest of your problems.